Hey everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. Matt, Christy, Alonso. Before we get rolling on reviews this week, as has been our wont of late, we're going to kind of get caught up on the last week or so in the coronavirus and how it's been impacting the show business.
Yes, hope you guys are all doing well and keeping safe. I see that there are all kinds of articles and petitions and things to begin opening the beaches. LA County beaches are still closed, but if you go up to Ventura or down to Orange County, they're closed. It's going to be really hot in LA this weekend. Like it's going to be 78 down here where I am. So things are, I don't know.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in the 90s where I'm at in the valley.
Yeah, ditto here too.
The valley is always way too hot. But so I feel like it's been 6 weeks today. I feel like there is the beginning of inklings of trying to ponder changing and getting back to normal.
I don't know.
I was just saying
go ahead. Well, I was just going to say there was news recently that I think Mayor Eric Garcetti, LA mayor, had said that there would at least be no sporting events or concerts probably till next year.
Right. Till 2021, yeah.
Meanwhile, you've got the governor of Georgia trying to jump the gun and open things way too quickly. That for anybody who's in epidemiology would like, and that apparently seems to have a lot to do with, according to a lot of pundits, the notion that you don't have to pay unemployment to people who simply don't feel safe going to work if they can go to work.
Oh, that's what that's about. That's what that con's about. But again, didn't Trump and Pence tell him, "Oh yeah, go ahead and open Georgia"? And then he said, "I'm going to open Georgia," and got a massive backlash about it. And so Trump's like, "I don't like the idea of opening Georgia."
Yeah, well, Trump, you can't rely on him to say the same thing twice in 5 minutes. No.
Well, today he's like, "I'm being sarcastic about bleach. I didn't mean for you all to bleach yourselves."
What a kidder.
Right, and I wasn't looking at anybody. I was talking to report anyway.
Right, and to be clear, it wasn't bleach, it was Lysol.
He said disinfectant.
Disinfectant.
Non generic brand disinfectant. And then I like Lysol came out with a thing on Twitter like, please don't put us inside of you. Anyway, but to actual
That's
news.
That's the first time somebody on Twitter says that.
The weird thing is there are actual vintage Lysol ads in which it is recommended as a douche for women. Google it. I'm not making this up.
I'm crossing my legs down below at the bottom of this box
I know. We're all feeling it.
So I guess whatever argument there was, because I had in my list of many things here, Georgia plans to reopen theaters on April 27th. So maybe they're not doing that now.
Well, and apparently I think a lot of the larger chains can't. Like they've sort of furloughed their staffs and they're not in a place where they're able to do that. But even for the mom and pops that want to, it just seems like a tremendously bad idea.
Yeah. Anyway, but there are people who are providing information and doing things for good. So let me, if I may, go through a few of those, our week in news here. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis are putting out a wine called Quarantine Wine. It is an Oregon Pinot Noir, and 100% of the profits go to COVID-19 relief. They have chosen a bunch of charities. If you go to their website, I want to say it's like quarantinewine.com. There's a cute little video they shot, and it's charities that are like providing food for families and medical equipment and PPEs, and you can order it online. And so wine for your virtual happy hours. We have Stanley Tucci's making cocktails on Instagram.
Okay, so have you watched the video of him making his Negroni?
No, I heard it's really good though.
There's a reason everyone is talking about they now thirst for Stanley Tucci. He knows what he's doing, fully dressed, wearing a belt, shirt tucked in, making his Negroni with authority. Dude knows what he's doing, and it's
super hot.
It's like damn. Yeah.
Matt, you look flushed.
Yes. Mama, I do declare.
And Tucci's not even my type of dude.
The way in Matt's heart is through his liver.
Yes, true.
So along those lines of people doing good things, A24 has this really cool online auction. So if you saw Midsummer and thought, I'd like to wear the May Queen gown,
or I want the mallet.
I want the mallet, or he thought like, I want a jewel encrusted Furby.
Furby, yes.
Or I want the skateboard that they rode in mid 90s. There's a bunch of really cool stuff up there. The light from the lighthouse. You want to light your house.
I don't think they're auctioning off the head from
Hereditary?
Hereditary.
No, they have other things from Hereditary.
Do they have any of the little miniatures from Hereditary?
No, I think
cool.
No, but you can get the little floor mats, the little like
floor
welcome
mats they have.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, if you go, I want to say it's a24auctions.com. They've got a bunch of cool stuff online all through the month of May, and that all goes toward different charities. I think mainly in New York City. We have some changes in release dates. So the main one being the Batman got pushed to, it was going to be June 25th of next year. Now it's October 1st. So it's not that big of a push. It was always going to come out next year, but I guess they're like banking on needing some time there, like post-production time.
That's an interesting, I want to talk about that for a second because that's an interesting choice. You would think, I wonder if that must have meant that they've stopped filming, right? That must mean that they're not going to finish filming on time. And it's also like, it's a little weird that they would go into October because that's not necessarily a prime date for a big blockbuster.
But
unless they think it's a more serious movie than that.
I was going to say, if they're thinking, well, gee, the Joker won Venice, maybe we should position this as a fall festival title.
Yeah, maybe so. The other thing I think that it could be too is at this point, all of our kind of conventional wisdom about what release dates mean, I think is out the window for the next 18 months.
Well, and with superhero stuff that already kind of had been, I mean, this used to sort of be like, it's a summer kind of deal. And then suddenly like, oh, no, we can release one in March and like, rake it in. And then we can release another one in, September and rake it in. So I think you can pretty safely put it anywhere. Other studios will clear the hell out of the way of that weekend. So yeah, why not?
The rules are changing once again. Another big movie that has been moved is In the Heights. It was supposed to have been a giant summer release. That was poised to open on June 26th. It's been now moved to June of 2021, an entire year later. So they're doing what the 9th Fast and Furious movie did, which is not necessarily pushing to some amorphous later date. Like they know they want to stake out a spot where it's going to be prime viewing. This is going to be a big escapist, fun, joyful summer musical. So they want that spot. So now June 18th.
And so if West Side Story does wind up coming out this year, then it does not have that movie to compete with as being
true
a musical and award season.
True. Scoob! ! Is now coming out on May 15th and going straight to streaming.
Thank God.
Nick's excited about Scoob! He thinks
actually
it looks really funny.
The trailer looks cute.
It's cute.
Now, I haven't seen the trailer. Is it true they're creating like some sort of weird shared universe with like Blue Falcon and Captain Caveman, or was that a joke?
So that's always been a shared universe that Blue Falcon and Dino Mutt have actually, if I'm not mistaken, have shown up with Scooby before. So, and also if we remember the whole like wacky races and the whole sports thing that they used to do, all the Laugh Olympics. Yeah. That's already a shared universe. Like they've been there, done that.
And the new Scooby-Doo movies, they also share their universe with, Phyllis Diller and Don Knotts and Mama Cass.
Right.
So anyway, maybe it'll be good. So we'll talk about it here on the show. Yes.
And the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yes. A thing that is happening on Sunday night is this giant virtual Sondheim tribute. It is an all-star who's who of fantastic Broadway stars. Meryl Streep, Patti LuPone, Bernadette Peters, Kristen Chenoweth, name it. Name a person who is important who's been on Broadway, and they're going to be doing this thing. It's what, Sondheim's 80th birthday or something like that?
Charlie Chaplin.
Is it 80? Yeah, it is some big birthday for him. And I'm very, very excited about that.
Alonso, you are the target audience for that.
Yes!
Fabulous. So that's on Sunday. So I'm sure that'll be available afterward as well. Who else? Some famous people who have either been tested positive or recovering from it. Richard Quest from CNN.
Sorry, it's his 90th birthday.
90th. That makes more sense. Yes. Brooke Baldwin, if you follow her on Instagram, she's been really candid about how hard it has been, the isolation and the anxiety of being home and being sick. So there are people who at this point are coming out the other end of it and telling their stories of what it's like to have it. And the trajectories of it are all so weird. Like a really close girlfriend of mine has had it, was in her basement for 2 weeks, just came back upstairs, and she felt pretty okay. She had like a little bit of a fever and a little bit of a cough, but just to be safe, got tested, and sure enough. So you're seeing every level of like people getting very, very sick and dying, and other ones being essentially asymptomatic and coming out the other end of it. So that's at least encouraging that folks are living to tell the tale, and that is better. On Netflix on May 5th, is a Seinfeld stand-up special. And it's sort of a James Bond theme show called 23 Hours to Kill. And there's like, I guess it was like already a stand-up special that he had in the works, and then they like put some funny James Bond kind of stuff in it as like glue. So that's on May 5th. There's also, did I mention these Middleditch and Schwartz improv specials? There's a whole bunch of them on Netflix. They are a long-time improv team. So I've not watched them yet, but I like both of them. And that's it. I don't know. And you guys won't talk about the Michael Jordan documentary with me. So I have been having, and this is actually good. This is actually much better this way.
Yeah,
I'm happy to talk about how much, right. We'll talk about how much we don't want to watch it.
You don't have 10 hours to devote to Michael Jordan.
I would have taken that bullet for this program, but I would have no interesting insight. So
you're so sweet. So what I've done, and I'm really happy about this, and it's going to be really fun, is so they're airing 2 episodes each Sunday for 5 Sundays in a row. So episodes 1 and 2 aired this last weekend. 3 and 4 will be this upcoming Sunday. And so I'm having a different friend after each time talk about those 2 episodes. And so the first one I had my former editor who writes for The Undefeated now, his name is Jesse Washington. He is a huge basketball fan, basketball player. His son plays college basketball, so he was great. Next week I have Brian Mahoney, who is my former AP colleague. He's the NBA writer for the Associated Press. So he's then, so it's going to be good. So keep an eye out for that. But that's happening. If you guys are looking for new stuff to stream, it's riveting. Like, I wouldn't think we'd need 10 hours of information about Michael Jordan, somebody that we know a ton about, but it's really well put together and deeply sourced, and it moves really well. So the Jordan.
Is there an entire episode about Space Jam?
We haven't gotten to Space Jam yet. No, it's early.
If not,
they have to talk about Space Jam.
Exactly.
It's there in 10 hours. You can devote a minute to Space Jam in 10 hours. And then, Alonso, you were just mentioning before we began that MGM and UA had a bunch of layoffs.
Yes. Deadline just reported that MGM has laid off about 7% of its staff, around 50 people. It says across all departments, including scripted, unscripted TV and feature films. And then UA Releasing, which is a joint venture with Annapurna, has furloughed a third of their marketing and distribution staff. They're hoping to have those folks come back in the summer when theaters start reopening. They still have Bill and Ted Face the Music slotted for August 21st, although obviously, who knows? And
I think there was a story in the LA Times about how there were like 1,300 productions underway a couple months ago, and now there are 0.
Well, and I
in Los Angeles,
right? And right. There was the other thing about productions running out. Like, one of the questions in the last couple of days is how much longer is Jeopardy going to go on? Because they're going to run out of episodes. They're going to run out of episodes. So I think some of the game shows, that and Wheel of Fortune, are going to run out. But talking about film production, one of the things that occurs to me is, we've discussed before how hard it is to do like another Avengers movie, because it's so hard to get everybody's schedule together, right? Because Chris Evans, for example, may have his next 3 or 4 movies planned out, and that calendar has all sorts of obligations in it. And same with Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo, and all those actors have schedules, and so it's not easy to coordinate everybody's schedule to get together. I think that the delay in production on coronavirus is going to wreak havoc that way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a producer of a film and a director of a film that's got a bunch of, or like a few stars, or even co-stars that are kind of working actors, suddenly like you're really looking at the possibility of missing some people and not being able to continue. And, do you push your production back? Do you not? I mean, over and above all of the scheduling of, release dates, there's this whole second part about scheduling actors and producers and,
locations,
right? Locations, but cinematographers
crews,
and directors and crews, right? Like all these different pieces, costumers, all these different pieces that it's all this, kind of crazy web that now, you start pulling those threads and like 25 sweaters come apart. It's going to be, I think if nothing else, it's, going to actually make for some interesting opportunities for people that previously hadn't necessarily got them, that like, oh, well, we can't get this person because they're busy. Like, who are we going to give a shot to?
Well, it's weird because like, I think for a lot of times you would hear people say like that there aren't enough good scripts to keep actors busy. Like you'll see actors doing stuff that you're thinking like, why are they making that movie? It's like they want to work and that's what's out there. And so this unprecedented, like we just stopped producing everything for 3 months or 6 months or however the hell long it's going to be. It may well be that it turns out that now there is enough stuff to go around suddenly, but it's not just a question of getting the actors. You're right. It's like getting all the DPs, getting all the first ADs, getting all the hair and makeup and everybody else involved that has to put these things together. Yeah.
And I would somewhat modify your statement about not enough good scripts. I would say that there's not enough good scripts that get funded.
Well,
right.
Yes.
Like, right. Because it's somebody.
There's always plenty of great unmade ones out.
Well, yeah. Right. But I mean, like there's that cynical side of me says like, oh, well, you could have a really brilliant script, but if it doesn't appeal to someone that like is going to fund it.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. So a lot that's up in the air, certainly for the months and like the next year ahead of our lives. Matt, you have some more marquees that our listeners and viewers sent us.
Yes, we do. So let me share my screen and you can see. All right. So our first picture, if you guys can see, this is from Scott Kerchak in Buffalo, New York, which they have quoted the wonderful song from Life of Brian, "Always look on the bright side of life."
Stay strong, Buffalo.
Stay strong, Buffalo. Next up, John Rathbun has sent us something from Little Falls, New York. That is the Valley Cinema in Little Falls. I'll be back, we hope. And then the last one I have this week is from Andrew Ellison in Peoria. This isn't so much funny so much as it's a snapshot of a kind of moment in time, right? People stopped working at this theater or stopped updating the marquee the week that Onward, Hunt, Call of the Wild, and Sonic were out. So we'll see what else is, it's going to be a while, I think, before those get updated.
I see a lot of folks are posting on Twitter a question of like, what was the last thing that you saw in the theater? And The Hunt is the last thing I saw in the theater. 6 weeks ago last night. Yeah.
First Cow.
Oh, where'd you see that?
I went to the Thursday night screening on March 5th at the ArcLight, the preview night that it was open. And then the next day I took Dave to urgent care for his sinus infection, and we've been holed up here ever since.
You've got a week on us in quarantine time. Yes.
Yeah. So quick reminder to everybody watching, what we've asked is if you have good pictures of the marquees at your local theaters and, you feel okay to get out in your car and go drive around, please stay safe. Don't get all up in somebody's grill without a mask. Or even if you have a mask, maybe stay out of other people's business. But, send us fun pictures and we'll credit you and we'll put them up on our videos because they're fun.
We loved it. Yeah. It's nice to see you guys. Yeah. It's nice to see you guys out there. It's been so much fun to see what the world looks like outside of our little boxes.
Right. So you can send those to us, either hit me on Twitter or hit the Be Fast All Day hashtag, or not hashtag, account on Twitter, or on our Facebook page. Or, send them in the mail.
We love it. All right. Be safe, friends.
Yes. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Thanks for watching. Like this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're at BFest All Day, like Matt said, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And, of course, we have our Patreon at patreon.com/BFest All Day. We're talking about Mrs. America and the plot against America, which wraps up this week, and Westworld. So give that a visit if you haven't already. Be good. Be safe. See y'all next time. Bye.